and welcome to the Evengaze Crochet YouTube channel. My name is Jodie. I'll be your host for today. You can find me as Evengaze on Ravelry and Instagram. I am from Wolverhampton in the UK, where I live with my fiance and my three beautiful fur babies who may or may not make an appearance on this podcast today. They are all in the room. The boys are both asleep on the sofa behind me and the cat is asleep on the windowsill. Fingers crossed they are going to behave today. I did try and film a podcast last week for a couple of hours, and even just half an hour was too much for them to sit still, so eventually I gave up and took them in the garden and wore them out a little bit. So yeah, I hope you've all had a lovely 3 weeks. As you can see, my hair has drastically changed from the last time I podcasted. I have gone back red. I just kind of needed a change, wanted something different. I did have red hair most of my way through school, so it's not a completely new thing, but yeah, I do have some finished objects to show you. I have some finished objects I can't show you because I don't have them with me, and I do have some works in progress. So I'm going to start off by talking about the finished objects that I don't have with me. Both of those were shown on the last podcast as works in progress. The first one was the brunch cardigan, which was very almost finished. It was just a case of it needed the ends weaving in, so it was gifted on the Saturday, and even though all it needed was the ends weaving in, they weren't woven until the Saturday morning. But that went to my little cousin and she was really happy with it. The other finished object that I finished but don't have with me was the blue tie that I knitted. That was for her partner, and I gave him that on the Saturday as well because I wasn't sure when I'd see them again. And he was really happy as well. His wasn't wrapped up, so he was able to just kind of pick it up and put it out the bag, and it was really nice to see that reaction. It's not something, normally when you give something to someone at a party, they're not going to open them there, but yeah, he was really happy, and she sent me a message when she did open it to say she loved it as well. So yeah, I do have some finished objects in this bag. Yeah, it feels like I should have more than I do, but there we go. So the first finished object are these socks, and I can't remember if these have been shown on the podcast before. These are my bumblebee socks. They are with DK weight yarn. Oh, I missed an end. They are knit with DK weight yarn. So this is a yarn from B&M, and I believe this is a blockbuster yarn. So it's just DK acrylic. I'm hoping that by knitting DK acrylic socks, because these are really comfortable, I'm hoping because they're acrylic, obviously they're going to soften up in the wash quite a lot, but I'm thinking they should be quite hard wearing. I've got some acrylic stuff in the house that I've made, and it has been through, it's kind of been through the ringer a little bit, and it's been fine. So I'm hoping DK weight acrylic socks should last, especially now as I've knit another couple of pairs, or I've got a couple of pairs on the needles, which I'll show you in a minute. So as I dig into my bag, the next finished object is another knitted tie. So I finished the tie that I was working on, that blue one that's already been gifted. I finished that on the Wednesday, and my train was delayed, so I finished it while I was on the train, and because my train was delayed, I missed my bus home, and Jim had come to meet me, and so we went to the pub for a couple of drinks, and while we were in there, he said to me, there's no way you'll be able to knit me a tie for Saturday. So I did. I cast on one stitch, increased to 15 I believe, and then I did a couple of knit 3 togethers until it got to this, which I think was 9. I wish I'd written this down because I prefer this tie a lot more, and then it was just garter stitch all the way along. And then I think I did knit 2 together at the end of every row until I just had 1 stitch left. So yeah, that is this tie. It was knit on 3.5 needles, Starcraft Special DK. I think it's definitely some kind of acrylic, because it was something I literally just kind of grabbed, because I knew I wouldn't have time to get to the yarn shop. So yeah, a bit of a tedious project. I'm not sure if I'd knit another tie for a while, especially, and if I did I wouldn't do it on circulars, because as well as having the cable to kind of keep manipulating round, you've got to move your yarn constantly because you're only doing 9 stitches and you're turning, and a lot of it was done on public transport as well, which was a bit of a hassle. So I'm not sure if I would knit another one again, and like I said, probably not on circular needles. But yeah, I have another pair of socks finished. These are my panda socks. I have shown these on the podcast previously. They are some cute little shorty socks, really soft, really lovely. I'm curious as to how this is going to wash. Once again, I have forgotten to weave my ends in. With socks, this is really bad. I've got quite a few pairs of knitted socks now. Sometimes I'll just tuck the end in rather than weave it in until I've worn it, just to make sure I don't need to make any changes or anything. But yeah, this yarn is Wendy Happy in the panda colourway, and this is Signet yarn. I can't remember the colourway, it's something grey. And those are finished. These took me a really long time, even though I loved the yarn and the shorty socks. They seem to take absolutely ages to finish, but they are done. I am going to knit some more socks with this Wendy yarn. I've got quite a lot left, but there's things that I want to get finished first, that kind of need to take, not need to, but probably should kind of come before those. So my last finished object that I can show you is another pair of socks. I've been on a real sock kick. I think it's because I can knit them on my way to work, or we're going to the cinema tonight, so I'll probably take a pair of socks with me. That the portable element is really good. So yeah, anyway, my last pair of socks is this one, and this colourway is a zigzag yarn. I don't know what number or colour it is, and so I did toe up, and the grey is West Yorkshire Spinners, and then I've literally just cast off without doing any ribbing. My thought here was, if I can knit some socks without a cuff, when I'm having my bad sensory days, where everything kind of on my skin irritates me, I tend not to wear shoes, so I'm hoping that not having a cuff will mean that I can still wear socks, because obviously I'm having a bad sensory day on a cold day, my feet are going to get cold, or if I'm walking around the house with no socks on, or sometimes I'll even go outside without socks on these days. So I'm hoping they are gonna take a bit of a hit when I do that, but I'm hoping having some socks like this is just going to be a really nice alternative to wearing nothing on my feet. So that is my last finished object, and all of my socks that I've shown you have been knit with the Mina Phillips vanilla sock recipe. I have bought another sock pattern instead of just keep on using the same one. I bought that last week, I think, but I want to get some finished objects finished, especially ones that are gifts, before I cast on anything else for me. Which, in saying that, my next work, I'm going to go on to works in progress now. The first work in progress is this sock, which matches my hair quite well. So this is a sock for me. I needed some quick grab and go knitting, quickly knit the toe, and then yeah. So this is Starcraft Special DK in the burgundy colour. It's knitting up really dense, denser than my other DK weight socks. I've done my heel. I've done a German short row heel, and I am about to start the leg. This might be my cinnamon knitting for tonight, because it doesn't matter how tall I make it. So I'm thinking of doing this as a ribbed sock, maybe doing 3x1 rib, but beyond that there's not really much to say. I haven't even been keeping this in a project bag. It's literally just been in my work bag or sat next to my chair, and mainly it has been used for grab and go knitting until I could get another sock cast on. And the reason why I've cast on the other sock, which I'm going to show you now, is because this is a present. I'm getting another couple of Christmas presents done. So here is sock number 1 from my next work in progress. And this is Starcraft Batik Charcoal, and I believe this one is called Heather. So it is a toe-up sock. There is the heel. I've done the same number of stitches I normally would, but on, obviously it's DK weight, so it's bigger. And then I've had to, I don't know if you've just seen the cat creeping across the room. I have had to make them slightly longer because these are for my gran, who is size 6, whereas I am only a size 3. Then I've done the heel in the same colour. A leg that I'm hoping this is going to be long enough. So the leg is roughly, if you can see that, the leg is roughly the same size as the sock, the foot, and then I've done 15 rows of 2x2 ribbing at the top. So yeah, that's sock number 1 from this pair, and this is sock number 2. And the reason why I don't want to use these as cinnamon knitting is because these are a gift for someone else. I want to make sure I get them right. I want to make sure that this bit's the same length, and I don't want to be ripping back, because I hate ripping back, and it would, a couple of times when I have ripped back, I haven't been able to pick the stitches up and I've basically had to start again. So yeah, these are the socks I'm knitting my gran for Christmas. I think it was last year I left my Christmas knitting too late, and my gran got what I was knitting her for Christmas, and my sister got what I was knitting her, but not everything I wanted to make her, and that was it. Jim's Christmas present is still in the bag upstairs. I'm currently thinking about frogging it, and because it was a crochet jumper, I'm thinking of frogging it and turning it into a knitted jumper. But anyway, these are her Christmas presents for this year, and I just love these colours. This is how much grey I had left from the first sock. It comes in 50-gram balls, so that's the Batik label. It comes in 50-gram balls, so I'm literally just gonna pull from this one until it matches this one, and then it shall be done. And then I've got some more of this for other people's Christmas presents. I think it's 80% wool, no sorry, 80% acrylic and 20% wool. So I'm hoping these should last, but they are really thick and cozy, so they might be more suitable as bed socks rather than kind of normal socks. But yeah, so a couple of people are going to get knitted socks this year. I was telling someone in the family about this. I said I'm going to try and knit some of my Christmas presents early, and they took it as everyone was getting a pair of knitted socks. And I was like, no, I'm not knitting socks for everyone, because that would be too much time, just for certain people. So yeah, that is my gran's Christmas present. I'm hoping to get this finished relatively quickly now. Now I'm kind of past the toe, but they're fine for travel knitting. They are in my new project bag, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll already seen I haven't even taken the tag off this yet. This is it. It is my Lurcher project bag from Two Ugly Sisters on Etsy. I'll pop a link to their shop down below. So you've got some lurchers and some, I think there's a whippet over here, and greyhounds, and I just really love it. I think it's so cute, and I like the way, I think the polka dot matches really well. I grew up breeding lurchers. That was what we always had lurchers growing up, and then now I have one. I have a lurcher, my boomerang, who has made a couple of appearances, I think. So yeah, that is my other works in progress. I have one more work in progress, which I think I showed you last time on the podcast, but I'd hardly done a dent in it, and that is my Pokemon blanket. I am so excited about this. I am enjoying it so much. Yeah, I wanted to get more done, but I'm not going to beat myself up, because it's something you really have to sit and work on. And so here it is. Can you see all that? There is my Bulbasaur. He's really coming along. I love his little face. The end is horrific. The back is horrific with all ends everywhere, and yeah. But here is my Bulbasaur. He's nearly finished, and then because I think I was somewhere here, this took absolutely ages. So what I might do when Bulbasaur is finished, and it's down to just the grey, I think, there he is. I think it might become a travel project once it's down to just the grey, just because that's the bit of corner to corner I hate the most, is when you're just kind of in a sea of one colour, especially something like grey, and a solid grey. So this is all Starcraft Special DK yarn. I bought this on eBay. I can't remember the shop name, but if you bought, they were relatively cheap anyway for Starcraft. They were relatively cheap until you included the postage. But because I ordered so much, the postage that only charged me postage on so many balls. And then because I'd ordered like 12 or 13 balls at once, they gave me, I think, 10% off. So yeah, I'm loving this project. I think it's going to be amazing when it's finished. I was worried it wouldn't be big enough, but one square is kind of going over my shoulders, so there's going to be 2 squares joined together of this, like from here to here. That's how big it's going to be. So I do think this is really going to be a good size, and then I am definitely going to back it rather than sewing in all the ends. I have secured the ends, I'm just not sewing them in. So that is all of my knitting and crochet for the last 2 weeks. It feels a little bit sock heavy, but yeah, that's everything. So I have been listening to Do You Dream of Terror 2 again. I think I'm about halfway through now, and I'm really enjoying it. The only issue I have with the book is one of the characters' names is Commander Shepard, which is the name of the character in Mass Effect that you play, and there's this song that keeps popping in my head every time they say it. If I remember, I'll pop a link to the song down below in case any of you have played Mass Effect or you'd like to ruin this book. Yeah, I am, but I am really enjoying it, and there's been bits where I've kind of been getting quite emotional, and I like when a book kind of has that ability. We are still watching Doctor Who. We have had colossal temper tantrums every time we put Doctor Who on. Bobby really does not like Matt Smith. This seems to be him getting grumbling started when Matt Smith took over as the Doctor in terms of where we are watching it, which has now evolved into temper tantrums. The companion at the moment is Clara, so he's gone back to grumbling, so maybe it was Amy Pond rather than Matt Smith he didn't like. But even the Christmas specials and things like that where she wasn't in it, he was still throwing his toys around and grumbling and throwing himself dramatically on the floor while sighing, and all the things that Bobby does when he wants us to know that he's very not happy. We've had that every time we tried to watch Doctor Who. We have watched the new season of Archer that has gone on to Netflix, so I think that's season 10. It was okay. It feels like that's Archer now. As much as we really enjoyed it, it's now could become a show that it's okay. That's all you can really say. There are some good moments, and I do like the way they've changed the characters around a little bit, but at the same time, it feels like they've lost some of the archiness. I'm hoping that, because they have said there's going to be another season, I'm hoping that will be better. I don't think we've watched anything else, not TV-wise. We haven't been to the cinema. I haven't read anything except for Do You Dream of Terror 2, and I am still reading Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race, but I'm finding it difficult to read in terms of my eyes have been playing up, which is why audiobooks are a bit better for me at the moment, and struggling to concentrate a little bit, which is happening with a lot at the moment. So yeah, it's a very interesting read, but I have to kind of be in a certain headspace to read anything at the moment, let alone something serious. So yeah, I think that's everything. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the podcast for the next couple of weeks, because I am doing a charity hat drive. So I'm doing this through work. There is going to be a sponsorship element, which work have said that anything that I sponsor, they will match. I think they're going to match a third of the money I raise for a local cancer charity. So I am going to be knitting and crocheting some hats for them over the months of September and October. So the podcast format may have to change a little bit because we're going to have donation boxes at work for me to put the hats in. So that may have to change the format. I may have to do something like daily blogs. When I have like a pile of hats taken, I might just blog, or yeah, I'm still kind of contemplating what I'm going to do with the podcast while this is going on. And I am thinking of setting up a thread in Ravelry, maybe not doing a formal make along, maybe just kind of a casual one. If anyone else does want to take part in some charity knitting or crochet, if I do that, I'll probably do a separate video just when I've kind of decided what's going on. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's everything. The boys have been quiet, thankfully. A little bit of moving around, but nowhere near the problems that I had last week. Bless him, at one point I was holding my knitting up to the camera to show you what I'd been working on, and Boomer comes running in with a pair of socks that he's pulled out of the dirty washing, very proudly showing them off. So I think he just wanted to be involved, bless him. But yeah, it's hard when they're playing and being noisy and just being dogs, to get much done. And obviously I'm not going to tell them off for doing that because they haven't done anything wrong. They're just playing, bless them. So yeah, I forgot to talk about this. I have talked about this on the podcast before. This is my Bruman shawl, made with King Cole Curiosity, but I will link to the project page below. I know I have shown this on the podcast before. It's probably one of my most worn shawls. It could just do with going in the tumble dryer just to soften it up again, because I have worn it so much recently. But yeah, I am going to leave it there. I hope you all have a lovely 2 weeks. I am going to podcast in 2 weeks again, rather than doing it in a week when my normal podcast would have fallen. So yeah, I will see you in 2 weeks unless I do a video beforehand. I hope you've all had a lovely couple of weeks while I've been away. Please don't forget to leave a comment down below. Just say hello, just anything. I do really like receiving comments, and I have now got a phone so I can properly reply rather than waiting until I can get to my computer. So yeah, I'll see you in 2 weeks.